Let's be professionals here. What does that even mean?
What do you think coercion means?
I was coerced into this interview.
And I'm going to fly all the way to Romania to do it.
You didn't do that.
Favor.
You used the Loverboy method. You said, sir.
The Loverboy method?
Yep. Andrew, this is going to be a very interesting interview.
Wait a minute.
We're going to make some money from this interview.
Wait a minute.
Money will be made for both sides.
Wait a minute.
You Loverboyed me and you stole the profit.
Hey folks, welcome back to One and Done. It's your boy George, and we have an absolute banger for you today. Piers Morgan and the top G, Andrew Tate, back for their third interview. Now, this interview is super funny, and I think we're going to have to break it up into at least 2 or 3, probably 2. Anyway, without delay, let's roll the tape.
Let me ask you about the Loverboy method. So the suggestion is that you and your brother and others, let's talk about you, that you deploy the Loverboy method, where you would make women fall in love with you. You would then persuade them to do webcam stuff, right?
TikTok.
Okay, but wait, let's call it webcam stuff, right?
No, let's not call it that. The indictment is about TikTok.
Okay, what would you make the women do? Or what would they do with you?
I love the top G. He's very militant.
Make anybody
and hilarious.
Do anything.
Okay.
In fact, let's talk about the Loverboy method. So it's very interesting. Let's imagine the Matrix is pissed off with a said individual who's telling too much truth and everybody is listening to him, and they decide they're going to attack him with sexual assault claims. They say, he's making women do, well, we found conversations where he gave advice on how to go viral on TikTok. He's making women do TikTok, but he isn't being horrible to them. He's not hitting them. He's not being mean to them. So what can we do? Let's use the Loverboy method. If I was abusive and mean, they wouldn't say Loverboy method. You know what Loverboy method means? Being nice. He was nice and polite and kind, and they really liked him as a person, and he told them how to do TikTok.
But that's not what the
He's
Loverboy...
a Loverboy. Of course it is.
Andrew, that's not what the Loverboy method is.
Absolutely it is.
The Loverboy method is where perpetrators woo victims with the prospect of a loving relationship until they can be forced into abusive situations or a form of slavery.
This is garbage.
That's actually what it means.
See, people don't get Andrew Tate. He's obviously has this persona. He's the top G, but he's also a satirist. He's actually very, very funny. Now, obviously, I don't agree with everything Andrew says. Sometimes he's a bit over the top, but I think some of those things, if he didn't say them, he wouldn't be known as Andrew Tate, the top G. Part of the things that I think make him attractive to young men or inspire young men is that he's a bit of an anarchist, sticks the middle finger up at the system, or what he calls the Matrix. I think he's dodging and weaving here with Piers. He's having a bit of fun with Piers. He's going, come on, Piers, hit me, go, hit me. But I think Piers is enjoying the challenge. It's great to watch.
The Loverboy method is being nice to people so that you work together, effectively what they're trying to say here. I was nice to girls who asked me for TikTok advice, and they sang it's the Loverboy method. I didn't beat them into doing TikTok. I didn't force them. I didn't threaten them. In fact, I was like, yeah, you're very pretty. You can be pretty famous.
Was there any element of coercion?
How can there be an element? What does that even mean? Let's be professionals here. What does that even mean?
What do you think coercion means?
I was coerced into this interview. You came along to me and said...
You weren't coerced into this interview.
Yes, I was.
Or don't tell me. The bullying MSM said, Andrew, you've got to do an interview.
No.
I'm going to fly all the way to Romania to do it.
You didn't do that. You used the Loverboy method. You said, sir...
The Loverboy method?
Yep. Andrew, this is going to be a very interesting interview. We had a good one last time. You're a nice guy. We have some interesting conversations.
I didn't say you were a nice guy.
I'm going to come along.
Wait a minute.
We're going to make some money from this interview.
Wait a minute.
Money will be made for both sides.
Oh, snap. Piers has been caught out. This is hilarious, man. This is hilarious. Piers, look at him. He doesn't know what to do. This is hilarious.
Wait a minute.
You Loverboyed me and you stole the profit.
But just to be clear, I've had no conversation with you about this interview. And the conversations I've had with your intermediary were very professional. And I said, I would like to do an interview with you.
Were you nice?
I'm always nice.
Loverboyed. You can't believe you used niceness to Loverboy me, because this is a profitable enterprise and I was coerced here.
I make no pretense that I've come all the way from London to Romania to interview you.
Oh boy, this is so hilarious. The top G is just sparring with Piers. I think Piers understands what's going on here, but I love how he's accused Piers of using the Loverboy tactics to get him to do this interview. Oh, we're going to make money. Yep, Loverboy tactics. Yep, Loverboy tactics. I love it. Hilarious. Damned hilarious.
Because yes, I want to do it on my show, and that will clearly benefit me and my show.
Am I a full-grown consenting adult who decided to do this show?
Yeah, but you're not being coerced into doing this.
Am I a full-grown consenting adult who decided to do this show?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't coerced, correct?
But what's that got to do with what I've asked you?
Because you were nice to me and you're saying that
I wasn't
That's
nice to you. I didn't even talk to you.
Being nice is the lover boy method, and that adults have no personal responsibility. And
I wasn't
nice to someone, they become your slave.
I wasn't nice to you, and I didn't call you a nice guy.
I feel lover boy. I feel lover boy.
Do you?
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's funny how when a man claims a victim, no one takes him serious. Obviously, you can't take this serious because it's hilarious, but it's just funny how that happens.
You had a website, Hustlers University, offering courses teaching husbands and boyfriends how to get their partners into webcam.
Absolutely false. The Hustlers University, which you can go to now, actually, we've changed the domain, it's university.com, is a school which teaches modern wealth creation methods. We teach people how to make websites, we teach people e-com.
Why did you call it a PhD pimping hose degree?
No, you're talking about an old video which was made satirically.
Why did you call it that? Oh, that was satire.
Of course it was. 9 years ago, the internet was a very different place. And if you're going to sit here and say, oh, 9 years ago, you said stupid things on the internet, it's not a gotcha moment because every single person has. So have you.
No, but you'd be very...
So have you, because you advocated for the vaccine, sir. So
yeah,
you said
absolutely.
stupid things on the internet.
Yeah.
Life, that's how things go. It's satirical. I also said I'm an astronaut. Do you believe I've been to the moon? Because I haven't, believe it or not. Hustlers University teaches children how to make websites, and
There's only one reason I'm asking you.
Advice.
Only reason I'm asking you. You've repeatedly said in interviews since you were arrested that you have never categorized yourself as a pimp. You don't think you're a pimp, right?
Well, what about all the rappers? Did you ask Ice Cube if he's a pimp and a murderer and a drug dealer? Jay-Z sold crack.
I'm not interviewing them. I'm asking you whether you have...
He's got a point though, hasn't he? He does have a point.
At any stage in the last 15 years been a pimp.
Of course I've not been a pimp. I've said I'm a pimp. I've said I'm an astronaut. I've said I'm a cowboy. I've said I'm the strongest man in the world. I've said I'm James Bond. Throw me in jail.
Are you just...
Snoop Dogg also said he's a pimp.
Put me in jail.
Okay.
I deserve it. 9 years ago, I made a joke on the internet.
So here's my question. Are you a fantasist?
I'm not a fantasist.
Do you have a persona that's just not you?
Of course not. I am me.
Well, if you are you, why would you repeatedly call yourself a pimp and then now say you've never been a pimp?
Are you going to sit here and say that because I've once said, oh...
I'm curious whether if you're trying to say to me you didn't mean any of the things you said. So I'm asking myself, well, why should I believe anything you say now? In other words, is what you say actually what you mean? Is Andrew Tate real? Or do you have a complete persona that you've fueled for money that has nothing to do with the real you? I don't know. You tell me.
I exaggerated on the internet 9 years ago for comedic effect. I'd walk into a nightclub and there'd be girls at my table, like every other man who walks into a nightclub, and I'd say, pimpin'. Oh no, put me in jail. 93 days was not enough with the cockroaches. I should go back. This is a matrix attack, Pierce. Every single person, every single man out there has done things worse than I've done. In fact, I will argue, if you put 99.9% of men through the level of scrutiny I've been through by multiple federal agencies, you will find a lot worse than him saying he was a pimp on the internet 9 years ago. You will find actual genuine crime. And I've done nothing. I live true to God. This is all garbage and it's not real.
He's not wrong. Everybody's made mistakes. You know, there's plenty of people out there that have done much worse than Andrew Tate. He wasn't a drug dealer. He wasn't killing people with drugs or anything like that. And I don't necessarily agree with Andrew Tate's lifestyle and how he came up. Doing webcam business wasn't illegal. And they were consenting adults. They're not 5-year-olds. They can make decisions for themselves. Anyway, let's jump back to the interview.
I said to you, I don't know if you're guilty or not.
I do,
okay.
And I am not guilty.
No,
it's a matrix attack.
I want to be clear to you, I'm not preempting your guilt. I've come here with a completely open mind. You've been charged with serious offences, but I am not going to judge you because I'm not a judge and this is not a courtroom, right? But it's interesting to me that one of the biggest charges against you is that you're a misogynist. And you've always said, I'm not a misogynist. And then the last time I interviewed you, you said, well, I may have said some things that may have been misconstrued. But even in the last week, you've tweeted some stuff which I'm not even sure if you're aware as you tweet this stuff, how it sounds.
Read it.
Okay, let's read. This is quite a long one.
Sure.
But I think it's important to read it to get a sense of how you view women.
Absolutely.
Any woman I date does not have a job. Okay, so the woman you're with doesn't have a job?
No.
Okay. Do you date other women?
Sometimes.
And your partner's fine with that?
Obviously.
Yeah? And you're fine with that?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, you think it's fine to be dating other women when you have a mother
I
and
think
a
we're
kid?
consenting adults and everybody can make their own personal decisions.
Okay, fair enough. Why would I be working so hard, you say, to have hundreds of millions for my woman to waste her life enslaved pennies? No, I will give you a life you can never ever afford. Private jets, 5-star hotels, new cars, endless spending money and diamonds. You will be rich because you're praying for me every day and protecting my spirit. I work in the physical world, she works in the spirit realm. Women shouldn't have to work because being a good partner is a full-time job for a woman. She has to look good. All the beauty treatments are time intensive. Not about money, it takes a lot of time. She has to train every day and stay in fantastic shape. Shop to look amazing next to me. I know there are some men who do 100 times more than this on a daily basis, but women are not as organized as men. And achieving anything significant causes them huge amounts of stress. Yeah. They need to have huge sections of their day empty to waste, or they will have a mental breakdown. True. And do you want a woman who's stressed and angry after the commute, unshaven and exhausted? Or do you want a Barbie doll who's always smiling and saying thank you because she did her nails and bought you Prada that day? As a man, unless you're a loser, you're already filthy rich, right? You can get endless sex anyway. Girls are easy. So what can a girl give you? Happiness, vibes, always smiling. Take the edge off a stressful life. Can she always be happy if she's been working all day? No. Just to wake up at 11, gym till 1, one appointment and some shopping. Dressed beautiful by 7 p.m. for you to finish working and tell you how strong you are. No matter how pissed off you are, just to always be laughing and smiling and writing little notes about how you're perfect. And just to be playful and funny. She can't do that if she has a job. So your job is being my girlfriend and now you're a millionaire. Congratulations. Behave and aim for the promotion to wife.
That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Don't have to work. Go do your nails, go do your hair, go to the gym, jump on the treadmill, keep fit, looking good, and you don't have to worry about anything financially. Or you can go and slave 9 to 5, have your boss telling you what to do, what time did you start, what time you're leaving, when did you go to lunch. He wants a feminine woman and he can provide that lifestyle for her to get the woman that he wants. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, there's other people that expect all those things but can't provide the lifestyle that he's offering. And I'm not saying that suits everybody because it's up to the individuals, it's up to the adults to choose whether that's the lifestyle they're after.
The reason I read all that in detail was I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I've probably ever read.
Well, I don't think you understand. One, especially when I'm talking about the fact that women can't handle what men can do, etc. One, it's slightly sarcastic. There's a sarcastic tone.
So do you mean any of this?
I mean all of it. Any woman I'm with, I will provide for because
so no woman should work. They should spend all day beautifying themselves for you, right? And they might get promoted to wife. Your job is being my girlfriend. Correct. There are hundreds of millions of women around the world who do a good day's work who still manage to be a very good wife or partner. Right?
Agreed, completely. But it's my life.
So why would you encourage a whole generation of young men? I mean, I've got to be honest, since our last 2 interviews, before you were arrested, I would say...
Yes, he's inspiring young men to provide for their partners, their wives, so when they have kids, that their wife can nurture them and raise them and spend time with them. So these kids aren't being raised by strangers with strangers' ideologies that don't match the family's ideologies. There's nothing wrong with young men trying to aspire to be better and aim higher. Now, they don't have to live the lifestyle that Andrew Tate lives, but the better they are, the better they're performing, the better options they have. They're in a position to be able to choose someone that's going to fit into their lives and their vision for their life. No problem with it at all.
Every single day, I have young men, teenage boys, maybe early 20s, coming up to me asking about you. Yep. It's gone on every day since I interviewed you. I'm very aware of your reach. I'm very aware of your influence. And whenever I've been asked about you, they say, what do you think of him? I said, I don't really know. I find myself agreeing with 60 to 70% of the things you say. And I do, because I think a lot of the stuff you say about empowering young men to be confident, to work out, to take care of themselves.
I probably agree with 80% of what Andrew says, but I think he wouldn't be who he is. He wouldn't have the reach, he wouldn't have the impact if he didn't say the other 20%. Let's be honest. Young boys, young men can identify with him because, maybe they're surrounded by soft, feminine men. Maybe they go, damn, this is what a man's supposed to be like. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect. No one's perfect. He keeps in shape. He works hard. He provides for his kids, his family, and he can provide himself almost any type of lifestyle he wants. Okay, he wants nice cars, he wants nice homes, that's fine. But not everyone has to do that when they've reached that level or, of wealth and accomplishment.
To have enough money to not force their woman to work.
Right, but that's the bit. That's the bit where when you stray into that kind of language, particularly in the detail where you reveal what you're really thinking, the kind of pathetic, soulless life you want for these women. Where does it allow for being a mother, for example?
Absolutely,
How does a mother of your children manage to find time for being a mother in this routine of love and devotion to you?
How does having a job give her time to be a mother? This gives her all the time in the world to be a mother.
Now, Andrew Tate does actually have kids, so I'm presuming that the mother of his kids, as far as I understand, and if we take Andrew for his word, they have plenty of time to raise the children, plenty of quality time, so they'll have direct impacts. They have that time rather than going to work for some other man or some other woman. They're there working on the family, working on raising great young children.
One, it's slightly sarcastic, firstly.
What do you mean?
Well, you can tell by the tone.
Do you mean you don't mean it?
No, I mean it.
Well,
but it's slightly sarcastic.
Well, sarcasm means
comedic effect.
Sarcasm means you don't mean it.
No, I mean it. But it's slightly
well, you either mean it or you don't. It's either sarcastic or it's not.
I mean every single word.
But this is the conundrum with you, Andrew.
Sarcastic.
This is the conundrum with you, right?
It's not a conundrum. If you'd let me explain, it's not a conundrum at all.
You tweet,
and also,
you
would be
tweet
very
this.
Interesting. I tweeted this out. I get thousands of women begging me, inboxing me, saying, finally a man who understands he needs to provide for a woman so she can be her best self.
Right.
This is exactly the kind of life that will allow women to become
there are
a mother.
definitely women that will absolutely love to be
so why don't you
treated like this.
Are they misogynists?
No, but what I think they're people who just basically, it's the old sugar daddy thing, right? They want to have a rich guy who's going to pamper them and take care of them. They don't have to do a day's work.
They want the top 10% of men. They're not interested in the other 80, 90% of men. They are invisible to them, okay? And these days, women have so many options. Instagram, Tinder, TikTok. They're putting themselves out here, there, and everywhere. It's not like the old days where you had maybe a half a dozen guys to choose from your local community. A lot of these women, they are not interested in the guy that works at Target. Some guy that's working hard in a factory or, then now this person might be a great person, might be, a fantastic, nice guy. Once they've dated a top guy, they can no longer actually come down to what level they really are at. When you see these young women getting interviewed on YouTube, most of them rate themselves at 10, meaning they're flawless, there's no improvement, yet none of them have modeling contracts. Let's carry on.
They just have to make
Being
themselves
a good partner
look
is
good
a
for
day's
you.
work.
Well, so you say.
Yeah.
But it also, the language that you use here seriously diminishes women who do work. You make them out to be, well, you're not doing your job as a partner or wife. You should be doing your job, which is just to devote yourself to his pleasure and making him happy.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, because I'll put a lot of the fault of this on men.
See, this is another thing I don't understand. Why do people cringe at the thought of doing something for your man? Now, let's talk about marriage here. If you're a woman, you shouldn't marry a man unless you admire and respect him. Now, he should have those traits. Now, these days, people choose on other things. They choose on money, height, most of it's physical, and emotion and feeling of the moment. Fall in love. Is it really love? Love is a condition of the moment. And that moment might last for 6 months, might last for 12 months, might last for 2 years. Marriage is hard work. It's a commitment. It's a almost like a working relationship, because at the end of this working relationship, you are trying to achieve something, start a family, raise well-rounded children, to become good young women, good young men. That should be the goal. The butterflies aren't going to be there in year 3, 4, 5. And they might be there, but they might come and go. 2, 3 generations ago, if people were married for 50, 60 years, trust me, there's some time in there where they weren't happy. But they've also created these multi-generational, wonderful families. Let's get back to it.
Let's if you want to gender the argument, let's do that. I think that a lot of the reason why women can't live this life, if they so choose, if you're a woman who decides to work, then go to work. I don't care. But if you're a woman who decides she wants to retire, it's because she can't find a man who could provide for her at this level. Do you think when a woman marries a billionaire that she wants to go get a job in Starbucks? Because in my experience, when they marry extremely successful men, they don't want a job. I'm sure Ronaldo's wife isn't begging to go work in IKEA.
Actually,
No,
Ronaldo's wife works very hard.
she works for herself, which is different.
And her family.
Of course,
Yeah.
which is different.
She's a hard-working woman. Actually.
Absolutely, because being a fantastic partner and having a bunch of children is a bunch of hard work. And she also finds the energy to have businesses on the side. Fantastic.
Right. But you
so
don't
what we're
want-
saying here...
Yeah, but you-
Now, I'm sure Ronaldo's wife works hard, but I'm sure if she's a great businesswoman, she would be delegating some of that work so it frees up time for her kids and Ronaldo. Now, if she's not there for the family and Ronaldo, I don't think that would work out too well. Oh, and I forgot, that's Posh Spice, right? Oh no, that's Beckham. Sorry. Back to the video.
woman, actually.
Absolutely, because being a fantastic partner and having a bunch of children is a bunch of hard work. And she also finds the energy to have businesses on the side. Fantastic.
Right. But you
so what we're saying here...
but you don't want women to have businesses.
No, I'm saying if you're with a man of my stature, you don't have to work. Now, if I met a perfect woman and we were together and we were happy...
When you say a man of your stature, with respect, right now you have no income, no possessions,
Correct. I'm
and
completely
you're facing
flat broke.
serious criminal charges. I mean, I'm not quite sure what stature you think you're currently selling, but it ain't great.
Okay, well then it's a shame all those women inboxed me after I put that tweet out saying,
I've got
we
no-
agree with you. I think you should interview
I
all
met
of
a
them
woman
for their
yesterday who, when I said I
misogynistic
was coming to interview, was immediately like, "Oh, can you put a good word in for me?"
views. Of course.
Sure, you have a definite appeal to a certain type of woman. There's no question.
I think providing for a woman
if I was
financially is a man's responsibility. If that means I'm a misogynist, then I'm a misogynist.
no,
I think
so you
that-
accept you are a misogynist.
No, I think a man should provide for a woman financially, completely and utterly. If she wants to work, if my partner were to say to me right now, I really feel like getting a job, it would make me happy, then I'll say work. But she doesn't have to. Her job is looking after the children, looking after me, and being as happy as possible. If you think I'm a bad person for saying, if you actually read the subtext and context.
I read it
I'm
all
saying,
out.
Okay, good. Then you understand what I'm saying.
You know I did. You heard it.
Absolutely. So what I am saying is, I am a man, my life is stressful, my life is pain. I go to jail, I suffer, I have to deal with making money. I have constant endless headache. I do all of that so I can give you everything, but then I get to have you. Your job is to be happy. I want you to smile. I want you to look your best and feel your best all of the time. If am I a misogynist for saying that I go through so much pain so that we can be financially secure, so I hope the woman I care about does not have to work a job. If that makes me a bad person, then so be it. Because all I'm saying is I want to take care of her in every single realm. I take care of her physical safety. I take care of her financial security. That is my job as a man. And if more men acted like me, you will see that the world will be a happier and better place. The women who say, I really want to work, I want a career, that's their prerogative and their decision. They're allowed to do that. But also, often the reason they do that is because they can't find a man they trust to take care of them.
No.
I've had this from women in their own
Andrew,
mouth. If I found a man
you've had it
who
from
was financially secure and as smart as you, I wouldn't be doing this
Fine.
garbage job either.
I think the problem with older generation, which I'm older generation, the problem with the older generation is they're thinking about people their age. They're thinking about the people that maybe they dated or have dated at some stage or some time. Andrew Tate's talking about the younger generation. You know, he's talking about the 20 plus. That generation. They have a completely different mindset. They do want a man that's going to take care of them. They're only working because they have to, because they want a lifestyle. And if a man can't provide that lifestyle, that's why 80%, 90% of men are invisible to them, because they can't provide, the men that they may see throughout their lives can't provide that lifestyle. So they go create it themselves. They go work themselves. There's nothing wrong with that, if that's what they want. Now, the respect goes both ways, of course, and admiration goes both ways. Absolutely. And whilst the husband or the man has admiration and respect for his wife, his key role should be to protect and provide. And a lot of men can't do that these days. And that's why young men are so inspired by Andrew Tate, because he says what they think 80% of the time. And the other 20% of the time, he says things that piss people off, which they also love.
Why was I psyoped into working to pay taxes when I should be at home having children with a man I adore?
Andrew,
it's a psyop.
Andrew, there are so many women that will listen to that and be laughing and mocking you.
Will there?
Say, don't be so ridiculous. I have a job that I love. maybe they're being paid even more than their man, right? The real world isn't the one that you categorize.
The real world is varied and nuanced, but I am talking about my life experience.
There's
and
a very-
my experience, any woman I love
Fine.
does not have to work unless she decides to.
Fine, you're the boss, you're in charge, her job is to make you happy, her job is to make herself look good, her job is to work out for your benefit.
Well, I think he's talking about the happiness going both ways. So providing, protecting, providing the things, the lifestyle that she wants. And in return, he wants the lifestyle that makes him happy. So happy both ways around. Now, if this woman doesn't want this lifestyle and thinks Andrew Tate's misogynist or any person that behaves and acts like Andrew, well then, he's an adult. Don't go near him. There's plenty of women that won't go near him. That's absolutely fine. But there's a lot of women that do go near him and want to go near him.
Blah, 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 blah. It is actually just misogyny.
Do you think a woman looking
And it's
good,
also-
do you think a woman looking good and working out has no benefit at all to her?
Of course it does.
Okay, so it's not for my benefit, then is it?
No, but you see, but when you talk about
young,
I don't. When you talk about young men and you tell them to work out and take care of themselves, I cheer you on, right? I want that. I've got 3 sons. I want them to feel that way.
don't you want them to become very rich and successful and have a
course.
woman who relies on them and have a beautiful family?
No, but I don't want a woman who's subservient to them.
Why is subservience? Why is a
Literally,
woman
the tone of the tweet I read is subservience. You did another tweet this week.
Here's one thing that people always overlook. A man worth his salt will put his life on the line, literally, for his wife and family. Or, sorry, I keep saying wife, but a serious relationship. It's innate, it's a natural instinct that he will be willing to give up his life for his wife. So if a man wants his wife to make him a sandwich, is it really that hard? Considering he would put his life on the line for her? Now, if he's not the type of guy that would be willing to put his life on the line for his wife and kids, well then maybe that's not the type of guy that she should be looking at in the first place. And there's a reason why when the Titanic's going down, the women go first and then the children, and last men. And men are fine with that. We're fine with that. But there's a problem of making a sandwich? Come on. Serious?
Men love by telling you what to do and not allowing you to make stupid decisions. We save you from the female inclination to make stupid choices. If a man isn't giving you instructions, he doesn't love you. If you won't listen to a man's instructions, you don't love him. The whole language is so ridiculous.
Let me change the language then.
Well, you tweeted this to 8.2 million people.
Correct. So let me say this. A father loves. Let's say instead of a man loves, let's say a father loves. A father loves disciplinarian. That's how a father will love you. A mother will say, oh, I hope you're happy, hope you're doing okay. But a father will come along and say, no, don't do this. You must do it that way. That's incorrect. It has to be this way. A father will discipline you because a father feels...
Well, not all fathers do. The ones that simp don't. The ones that don't, lead the home, lead the relationship, they don't. And we've seen many of those on some of these podcasts where these girls end up on OnlyFans and strippers and up poles and all that sort of stuff.
He knows best for you. It's the masculine essence of love. When a man loves, he shows that he cares via degree.
There is a massive difference between a relationship between a father and a child and between a man and a woman in a relationship.
Completely.
And I'm not sure you quite get that.
No, there is a difference.
And if you want to see some of the differences, check out my other video right here about fatherlessness. It's quite shocking.
But I would argue, Piers, in the happiest relationships, it's a traditionally masculine role in which the man plays and provides. The female is traditionally feminine. The man is the head of the house, not in an abusive way, doesn't beat her up. I'm talking about the man being the head of the household, like I would like to believe you're the head of your household. And he comes along and says what happens and what doesn't happen because he's the man of the house.
No, that's not. That's actually not how most households operate now.
Well, then it sounds...
Not anymore, but back in the day it was God, man, woman, child. That was the order. That seemed to work for a very long time. It still works in many, many cultures around the world. We saw those fatherless statistics in the previous video. The best outcomes is when 2 parents are in the home.
Sounds like we understand why the entire world's a mess. Because only 10 years ago, that's exactly how the households were operated. There was a man of the house, and now we have no longer any clear defined roles. There's no more longer a man of the house. You want to talk about knife crime, kids doing drugs, the crime rate, all of these problems. You want to talk about all of the societal ills we face. Perhaps it's because we don't have any men in the house anymore. Perhaps we need to bring the man of the house back. And the man of the house will come along and be a disciplinarian, and he will make the set rules and the creeds of that house. He will say, within this household, we don't take drugs. That stands for the woman I am with, the children who we have birthed. Nobody takes drugs in this household because this is my house and I'm the man of the house. So
Now, once again, Andrew is talking about competent men. He's not talking about abusive. He is not talking about those type of men, which is a small minority of men, not a large portion of men. He is not talking about them. He is talking about competent, responsible men, fathers. That's what he's talking about.
it sounds to me like we need to bring it back, sir.
Yeah, listen, it's all good macho stuff, okay? And I know lots of young boys who listen to this and go, wow, that's how I should be. Then I read the detail of your tweets. And again, come back to this. We save women from their female inclination to make stupid choices.
Females are emotional.
If a man isn't giving you instructions...
Now, females are emotional.
Hang on.
Piers,
He doesn't
females
love you.
are- females are emotional.
All this stuff is designed to, exactly as you've just articulated, is designed to make young men feel that the only way they can be successful in life is to effectively have their women under control, give them instructions that,
By
they have,
buying them
that they have to obey.
Don't
Don't
buy women Prada, you'll end up in jail.
You can buy them Prada, but let me finish my point. My point is that it seems to me, from reading your tweets, even now, that you have a blind spot when it comes to how they sound. It may be that the legal problems that you're in, which might be extremely serious, and we'll see when the trial happens, but it may be that in your head, nothing you've done is remotely inappropriate, because actually in your tweets you can see there's an element there of wanting coercion and control. You want to control women. You want them to be effectively your servants, slaves.
He doesn't have to control women. Yes, he really doesn't. He's got women falling all over him, and he has standards. He set those standards, and if you want to be part of his life, you've got to meet those standards. That's not controlling. That's just setting standards. Like women have standards. Women want a guy that's 6 foot, 6'1", earning 100,000 plus K a year. That's standards. He has standards. He wants a feminine, fit, attractive woman. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think he wants a few. Some people agree, some people disagree.
For want of a better phrase.
Slaves who get Prada and get to work out in the gym and get to look good.
But you understand?
While I do actual
But you understand
work.
the point I'm making?
No, I don't. Because
Which is in your head, the line is blurred so much now with this macho rhetoric that you've actually lost track of how this sounds.
Here's all of the things
Even when I read that stuff to you, I could see you looking at me and you said, your answer is, I was being sarcastic. And I said, well, where? And then you go, well, no, I meant it. Well, it can't be both.
I meant it, and I
You
said
either
it's a
mean it-
sarcastic tone.
You either
for comedic
mean it
effect.
or it's, well, no, because sarcasm means you don't mean it.
Piers, all the things you've just
Do
described.
you accept that?
No,
You're a smart
meant-
guy. You know what sarcasm means, right?
Absolutely. I said it has a sarcastic tone for comedic effect. All the
All right, guys, that was a great video. Andrew Tate, entertaining as ever. What can we take from this? Well, I definitely think Piers Morgan's got a man crush on this dude. I think Piers wish he had some of Andrew's game, to be honest, some of his riz. Andrew can probably give him some health and fitness advice as well. If he's 58, he really needs to get into a bit better shape. So what did you guys think of that interview? I loved it. I loved how Andrew was ducking and weaving with his comedy. He was being very serious, but at the same time smiling and giving some sarcastic grins. I think Piers actually believes a lot more of what Andrew says than he's coming across as, because I don't think he would interview him 3 times, and particularly in a long form interview, I just don't think he would. Now, obviously, they're going to get millions and millions of views, and that's obviously a reason why he's grabbed him. But I also think that Piers thinks Andrew Tate is extremely interesting, and obviously Piers's sons and some of the people around Piers were very excited that Piers was doing this interview. So that's why I think Piers has got a bit of a man crush. What do you guys think? What's your thoughts on Andrew Tate? What's your thoughts on this man crush between them both? And is the top G a net positive for society? I think he is. I agree with probably 80% of what he says, and the other 20%, if he didn't say it, we wouldn't know who the hell he was. He would just be another gibberer on the internet. So leave your thoughts and comments down below. I look forward to having a look at them. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and I will catch you in the next video.